Bout Time with Rashawn's Bout Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up to my Bout Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang? Thank you to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Encourage others to subscribe. Pass the word about Rashawn's Bout Time Boxing. Become part of the Bout Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang. Shout out to my guy Mark Nash, and Rebel Life Boxing. Subscribe to their channels and follow them. And shout out to New Media. Just shout out to New Media Boxing. Period. All right, so I gave my final analysis on the fight. So now the final press conference. So now I'm gonna talk about I want to talk about the final press conference and a lot of things that I said, given my final analysis, is popping up in this in the final press conference, and we're gonna get into some audio from that in a minute. But like I was saying, I had made mention about Shawn Porter and them, that maybe they trying to get the appearance that they switch some things up in this camp, or that they did some things different, and saying, because remember when they interviewed him, he made mention about he trained in Colorado Springs, been there, done that. Now they training at a higher altitude, and how his father was supposed to have bought in some things and all that. But I said I didn't feel like it was much that he could do different, and then I used the reference of somebody who's been fighting a certain type of way their entire career, and then now you try to bring in a different trainer. The only difference is it's still his father. So I don't see, because like I said, he knows only one way to fight, and the way that you train is the way that you're going to show up in the fight. So, and like I said, the only thing I can see him doing different is just trying to be a little, be more aggressive than he was with Errol Spence. Because when they asked his father, Kenny Porter, about what did he feel was different, and things of that nature, and his father said, I can't, we didn't do anything different. But I'm telling you, I could be tripping, but I smell tension between Shawn Porter and his father. I do. I mean, I know he said a lot of nice things about his pop. That's his father. He gonna always love his father. And I don't doubt that. But remember, Shawn Porter said that his legacy depends on this fight and him beating Terence Crawford. So, come on, we gotta, push them lines open, and read in between those lines. Because if he does not beat Terence Crawford, especially if Terence Crawford stops him or knock him out, I think this is going to be the last time you're going to be seeing Shawn Porter and his father together in the ring. And if his father remains in the corner, it's not going to be as the head trainer. I'm telling you, because that's in the way that I see it. I just, what I mean? And just based on some other things, just keeping up, with the build up to the fight and all that, just seeing some other things and hearing some things that Shawn Porter said about, how his father started bringing some new guys in and was doing stuff with them, and he said at first he felt a little jealous, this, that, and the third, and all that. So he's saying his legacy depends on this fight. So, because he said it himself, if he can't beat Terence Crawford, it's going to be like, Shawn Porter is good but can't win the big ones. And we know that this is what he's been faced with. Okay? So like I said, that's why I was saying I don't feel like, that's why he's going to come and fight the same way Shawn Porter going to fight the same way he always fight. He can't change anything up. When it comes to his style of fighting, he's a creature of habit. He's going to do the same things. But Terence Crawford, on the other hand, is not. he knows how to make adjustments. Now Shawn Porter, I give him, he look a little more like buffed and a little more stronger than he, looked in fights past. Not saying that he didn't look strong or nothing like that in other fights, but I don't know, just this fight, I don't know, maybe he wanted to add some muscle or whatever, because he figured he's going to need it, because he did say that he could knock out Terence Crawford, or that he was going to knock out Terence Crawford. He said that, and I made videos about that. So, but like I said, but that's why I feel like he's saying his legacy depends on this fight. Because if he can't beat Terence Crawford, then it's like, if I can't beat him, something is wrong. Because I know I have the talent and the skill to do it. So why am I not getting over these humps? Got to turn to his pop. Got to look at his dad like, maybe your strategy, it can't work for me at the level I'm trying to reach. And I'm 34 years old, so the clock is ticking. I need to already be able to be effective at that level. I can't just, become effective at that level in one fight. I should have already been that. And I know Shawn Porter is looking back on the big fights that he's lost. I know he's looking back on them fights. The Errol Spence, the Keith Thurman. I know he's looking back on them fights. So we're going to take a listen to this audio during the final press conference, and what his father was saying about them not changing anything for real. So if they didn't change anything for real, and I don't know, I don't think that this is a bait and switch type thing, trying to bait Terence Crawford in to make him think that he gonna come and fight the same way, but he really gonna come in and do something different. I don't think it's that type of thing. I honestly believe what his father is saying. They didn't change up nothing. He said they do the same things the same way. And let's take a listen to the audio.
How would you respond to that as the changes and where you've seen growth and development that's different from the fighter previous?
You mean in camp, or you mean
Yes,
overall?
in preparation for this fight.
In preparation for this fight, I wouldn't say he did anything different. He approached it the same. A lot of what we've done and what we do is predicated on a foundation. So you got to go through all of those same steps to get to this week right here. So it wasn't a lot of changes. There wasn't a lot of different things that went on. I mean, if someone's telling me they're more intense this camp than they've ever been before, I'm probably looking at them saying, why? You're a professional. You've been doing this for a long time. You should always be serious about what you do, and there should never be any letdown. So, what was it before? Was it a letdown before, and now you have to bring it up to another level? But for us, it's pretty much been the same. We worked, and we peak up to this week, and then here we are.
Champ, what's the answer to why? Why do you feel like...
But see, now he said, but for us, we didn't do it. So I mean, and I know that he's saying like basically, their camps are always intense. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, you got to go back and question. If he's saying, remember, he's saying his legacy depends on this fight. And if his father is saying that they didn't really change, they didn't do nothing different, and he's saying if you saying that this camp is more intense than it's ever been, then I'm gonna have to question why. So you don't think Shawn Porter, if he loses to Terence Crawford, especially if Crawford stops him and knock him out, he's gonna wonder why we've been having these intense camps, but I can't seem to get over, I can't seem to win the big ones? Who you think that's gonna fall back on? Shawn Porter's inability to perform in the ring, or his father, being, inadequate with being able to, produce a solid game plan for fighters that he's supposed to watch film on to help his son win these fights? Because remember, the last time Shawn Porter had a knockout was in 2017 against Andre Berto. He hasn't stopped or knocked anybody out since 2017. Terence Crawford has knocked out his last 8 opponents. His last 8 opponents. And his last KO was in November of 2020. So we see what Terence Crawford playing with in his arsenal, and we see what Shawn Porter playing with in his arsenal. And Terence Crawford can go 12 rounds if he need to. He can. But deep down inside, I know Terence Crawford wants to stop Shawn Porter. Put it in all of this stuff. He want to stop him or knock him out. And guess what? Deep down inside, Shawn Porter wants to shock the world and stop or knock out Terence Crawford. I'm telling you. Because he feel like, Shawn Porter feel like if he can beat Terence Crawford or stop him or knock him out, Shawn Porter feel like that's going to make up for all the other humps that he couldn't get over. I'm telling you, he's going to feel like it's going to make up for all the other humps that he couldn't get over. That's why he made a comment in one of his interviews. He said if Terence Crawford beat him, then Terence Crawford would be the best fighter in the world. And now that means that nobody can beat, nobody will be able to beat Terence Crawford. He said, but if he beat Terence Crawford, then that means he'll be the best fighter in the world. And nobody will be able to beat him, Shawn Porter. So that's what I'm saying. So, like I said, y'all let me know. Give me y'all take, on the final press conference. If y'all checked it out. If not, y'all listen to the audio that I played. Give me y'all take on that joint and what y'all think. I'm reading in between the lines. I don't think I'm reading too far into it. You know what I mean? I think that, based on, like I said, me following this fight to date and, watching all of the interviews and doing all of the research and talking to certain people, I think that my analysis is pretty much spot on. And I feel like if Shawn Porter loses this fight, and especially if he loses in dramatic fashion, that's going to be it for him and his father. Because he's 34 years old. How many more years do he really has to fight? Or will he contemplate retiring after this fight? That's another thing you got to think about. I'm not saying that he is, but he just turned 34 years old in October, last month. So, but if, you know what I mean? Like, how many more years do he really feel like he can, he can do this? And I know he want to go out on top. What fighter doesn't? But if he can't win this one, and if he continues to fight, I do not see him continuing with his father. And I do believe that there are some things going on between him and his dad that they're not talking about. And if Shawn Porter decides to replace his father, I'm pretty sure he'll do an interview about it and say that how they came to a mutual understanding and a mutual agreement. And it was, not based on his father's inability to, to train his son to win the big one, but it was a mutual decision that, because his father wanted to train other fighters, young up and coming fighters, and he wanted to, do some other things, and, and based on, Shawn feeling like he needs 100% of his dad's attention, that they just decided it would be best if he brought in somebody else. It's going, if they split, if he, Terence Crawford beat him, stop him and all that, and the split comes, the narrative is going to kind of play out like that, in my opinion. So that's the way I see it playing out. But like I said, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. So am I bugging? Am I tripping? Or or what? Like, drop them comments in the comment section below. If you watching this video for the first time, subscribe to the channel, and whoever's sitting next to you, tell them to subscribe, and whoever's sitting next to them and next to them and next to them encourage them to subscribe to as well. But again, like I said, though, I got Crawford stopping him late. I got Crawford, stopping him late in the fight. I would say I would say maybe between like the 8th and 11th, somewhere in between the 8th and 11th round, I got him, stopping him. So one thing about Shawn Porter, though, he got a lot of heart. He got a lot of heart, and he game. He gonna show up ready. But like I said, it's like not being able to switch them gears when you need to. You know what I mean? It's not being able to, to improvise, on the fly when you need to. It's about not being able to make this, not being able to make those adjustments when you in dire straits. See, Terence Crawford already proved throughout the course of his fights that he know how to make those adjustments. You know what I mean? Like, he can adjust and tweak whatever he need throughout the course of the fight. Shawn Porter can't do that. He coming at you full steam. He just gonna try to come hard and try to smother you even more. You know, come in and just try to stay in your chest and just try to keep the pressure on you and try to back you up, keep the pressure on you. Because even though Shawn Porter can, he do a lot of bouncing, boxing, he can come forward and all that. But if y'all watched his fights, he can't fight backing up. If somebody stepped into him, he can't fight backing up. You see, because and another things too, and I mentioned about the respect thing. I don't feel like that they respect Terence Crawford in the capacity that they respected Errol Spence. Now, his father, they asked another question about, him in camp and studying footage and things like that, and this is what his father had to say. Listen.
At this stage of his career,
he's a great fighter, and I watch my fighter more than I watch any other, so I haven't studied Terence. I know he's a great fighter because I've known him for years, but I haven't studied. I don't sit there and just watch tape of Terence from round 1 to the knockout or whoever he's fighting. I don't do that. That's not my way. My thing is to study him and to make sure that he's doing the things that he's supposed to doing. So when I don't see those things, I have to try to implement that in to sharpen that up. And that's what you do in the camp. You try to get sharp.
That's not his way. And he don't study footage. You study your fighter more than you study the fighters that he's fighting. Maybe that's why he can't win the big ones. Why wouldn't you study a fighter that's dangerous as Terence Crawford? You too busy watching your son. He too busy watching Shawn Porter and concentrating on what he thinks Shawn is doing wrong. You're not looking at all of the other things that Terence Crawford does right. So if you talking about all you doing is you watching your own fighter to make sure that he's sharp, how are you preparing when Terence Crawford start the switch hit? How do you prepare for that? If you just focusing on what you think he does wrong, how are you preparing, for the different things that Terence Crawford can do? How are you preparing for that? You see what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying, and I'm telling you, it's a part of me that just feel like that Shawn Porter really disagrees with that method. And it's part of him that's in his head might be thinking, that's one of the reasons why the big fights that we should have won is why I couldn't, because you didn't study enough film on them to look at the mistakes that they were making. You didn't learn about everything they did good, great, or everything that they did wrong, so that we could, base our camp off of, trying to combat the things that the opposition does better or does great. To me, that's dumb to me. I don't get it. I mean, am I tripping about that? Let me know what y'all think. Please subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Share this video and like this video. Hit that notification bell too. But his father said, I don't watch Terence from 1 to 12 and all that. I'm watching my fighter to make sure he's doing everything right. How do you know what he's doing right to combat what the other fighter is doing so that y'all can win, get the victory, if you're not paying attention to the other fighter? So you don't care. Now you got some fighters that may be skilled enough that they don't have to really watch film and they can make those type of adjustments on the fly. Shawn Porter is not one of those fighters who can make them adjustments on the fly. Terence Crawford can, Floyd Mayweather can, Jaron Ennis can. There's a few fighters out there, who can make those, Canelo can, who can make those type of adjustments on the fly. if they don't really, like study film, if they say they don't study film. But if I was in Shawn Porter's camp, I would be studying film on Terence Crawford day and night. How could you not? And this is supposed to be the biggest fight of his career, and you not studying this guy? You see what I'm saying? Now everybody see why the deck is stacked against Shawn Porter, and the winning odds is not in his favor because of statements like that his father making. And all of this stuff could be the beginning of Kenny Porter's own undoings with his own son. But I'm telling you, come Saturday, we gonna find out. Come Saturday, we gonna find out. And again, like I said, if he beats Shawn Porter in dramatic fashion, at least we know that his father didn't watch film on Terence Crawford, didn't study Terence Crawford to even try to determine how or when he switch hits. Is it something that triggers it? Is it something that he do instinctively? So what is he getting sharp for? What? He getting sharp so that when Terence Crawford do switch it, he can just pummel Shawn from either angle, boop 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 pop, switch the other way, boop 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 pop pop. Is that what he's setting him up for? Setting your son up to lose. You see what I'm saying? No excuses. No excuses. You make certain decisions and you gotta live with them. And this decision here could be a big mistake on Kenny Porter's behalf of his son coming out publicly talking about that. Man, this is the biggest fight of his career. You should be trying to get everything, not just based on, he's a great fighter. I've known that, because I know him from the amateurs. I've known it since he was a kid, but I don't study no film on him. Yeah. Mistake. And come Saturday, those words just might come back to bite Kenny Porter in his ass. And you can't blame your son. Can't yell at him talking about, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're doing what you want to do. You're not doing what I told you to do. So when you got Shawn Porter in the ring doing what he wants to do, that's him trying to make the adjustments because his father obviously ain't studied enough, so that they could prepare properly, for the fighter that he's fighting. So don't try to yell at your son and say, man, you're not doing what we talked about. How am I supposed to do it if you never even, you didn't prepare me for it? Because remember, you didn't watch no film. You was too busy studying me and what you think I'm doing wrong. You ever think that the things that he's doing wrong is because you're not watching film on the fighter that he's fighting so that y'all can prepare for him to do the right things? Hey, what I know. Maybe it's me, I'm tripping, right? Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Like. Share. Hit that notification bell. Saturday night, we gonna see what the ending results is.